Donandana Zara Damje de Lama Laba Laya Jizo Lozon Yonde Jamzong Alava Dendra Donchin Vegala Zor Trenchin Zava Lama Jij Kuzondo Jezilan Dada Daga Julan Pede Daga Demba Dansen Jeje Don Jajin Bondra Parasin Labdu So Oh, Dini Tamala Trashteles Na Dini Data Hide Jambrashin Jike Gui Da Mipa di tonema hubari da dara garjinyamgo de la tori da garjinyamgo hibadal jirdang chowok garjinyamgo hiwa garjinyamgo sin yore de da dara chowok dene gargo hibadal gui garsum song garsum tog garsums de kusong tog yongdi chama dinan do yorin de dang de don da si dong toni dene korana bala de yongdi yung zo undu tag ton dini durza simchin tamje la dini de dini tle dag toni dini rodon si ba ten sung yo bare ta den de dambo gigba hibate dini girl dan chin ta pebje hiwo kap sung ara chin pebje hiwa do de sung do cha de yorwa gigba hibate Teni pawa hibate jenshi jiba maransu ji chaba hyodo teni da chonyer chewa zigba ten jigba ten pa da du teni jignang ji yongwa rawo chi yore de ta dong to ni teni duso darade jangba de ninji tamje zar zo yo ke da de cha de yudu de la ge garsum garji nyamsum teni nekap je wandse na teni jikting ke latso tamje serji nomba ten songo yore jikting latso tamje serji nom shibande koranso rangu ne nelo ngo to sundu teni ransem wang dun na yinang serji nomwa de chade yo bare
So then we said we're going to talk about those 9 modes of dance. So there are actually 9 for wrathful and also 9 for 9 modes of dance for peaceful. So here in the context of the wrathful deities, and there are 3 moods of the body and 3 of the speech and 3 of the mind, which makes 9. So, and these 9 represent all the qualities of the deity's body, speech, and mind. And so it is the actual meaning represented by the symbol. So then the first one is so the meaning that is represented is that in different ways, through different moods, the deity benefits sentient beings. And so the first one of the first group of three are the three of the three moods of the body. And the first one is charming mood, and that also is in a peaceful expression, which represents the major and the minor marks of a Buddha. And then the second one is bravery, and that is the looking after us with affection. And then there is the fearsome expression, which is also expressed by the wrathful frowns or the wrinkles. So externally, it seems that they are wrathful and frowning, but actually it is a sign of this fearsome expression is a sign of looking after us with love and compassion too. So that these three are the three expressions of the body. And on also temporary or relative level, they represent the kind of outshining or overpowering of the worldly gods. And there's more. And so then from the ultimate perspective of having realized the nature of the mind, it represents, as I mentioned before, one gains control over one's own perceptions, one's own appearances, and thereby then controls or overpowers the appearance or perceptions of others.
Tene da song garisum de garisina hahas de la gubas in zintabare. Tene chok tone. Tene dara hehe shibade la hewa sin zintabare. Hewa shibade ben ngarang soji pama to soke bugula zewa chimbo yudi tene buga che bena kuma goyanda da jawa dukjale ne tene pama ke zewa kangang ne tene yang hige tonya yorwa. 다 내다베 차도 요러와 되니 자셔를 시바들 홍팩 시반데 홍 시반데 다 지능엔 저게 양자 휴게인 팩 시바데 히랍당 닌지 송던저런 보통 다 자고 요러지당 되니 자셔를 다 딕 송가 somdeke 되니 러당 뒤에다한테 저신라서 노바 탐지 세르지노서 대 군섭제 완세나 돈 담배 완세나 대소 탐제긴 지발에 탈송화된 총고용 알아서 탈바시.
And the next three are the three expressions of the speech. The first one is like expression is haha, which is the laughing expression. So it is a kind of a joyful laughing expression. The second one is he, which is the scolding or a stern expression, which, for example, is when a parent, of course, a parent loves their child, but sometimes the child is naughty, and then the parent becomes very stern and strict. So it is a stern, strict, scolding expression. And then the third one is called expressed through hung pet, and is called the savage expression. So about hung later, but pet first. Pet represents the union of method and wisdom and compassion. So together, the three moods of the speech overpower the nagas and maras, different demons, and also Indra and so on, the powerful gods, and on the relative level, and on the ultimate level, these three moods represent the state of emancipation or liberation.
Tene tokji nyapsa shibate tene tambo들 닝지스 tene 두번 탐지 세르지 nombe 닝지 그 돈을 추용 바 차다 요러바 tene 마롱 belengin 바 탐지 주바르세와 그 돈이 히와스 닝지 대양 tene 히와 그 닝지 Teni ta tuji janta deke, teni simjin tamji tu namya mandorwa, de toni teni ngamba ta de karisa lord shirap den songo yorwa, shirap je poba de. Ta de ta wa karin nyam god den ba ke teni jambra shinji shi deke tukala teni serjun kolo zeb yiba jinje gongo yor. Ta nga ta sunwa de la sungu kapsu ta de karjin pa chado yorwa. Dodo de zeb yiba de la teni zeb yiba ke zeb namla teni dara de jambar teni jambayang ishik simban jambayang teni serzo ma doji teni xiarjik cha ni bajik teni ye la teni cha ni bajik sitambo already
So then there's the three moods of the mind, and the first one of that is compassionate, and so the compassionate mood has the power to outshine, overpower the troops, the army of Mara with compassion. And then the second mood is peaceful, like a compassionately peaceful expression, which also pacifies all kind of haughty ones, all evil beings. And then the third one is called like the kind of awe-inspiring or awesome expression, and that is with that expression, the deity never forsakes sentient beings and always looks after them with great compassion. And that this awesome expression or awe-inspiring expression is also a sign of the deity's kind of confidence in wisdom, confident wisdom. So these are the three expressions of the deity's mind. And so then we come back to the visualization in the so we have visualized the entire form of Manjushri Yamantaka, and one second. And so at Manjushri Yamantaka's heart is a golden, four-spoked wheel, and on each of the spokes, so on the four spokes, on each of those spokes is Manjushri, a peaceful Manjushri in golden color. And so that is the visualization for the protection part, where we visualize the peaceful Manjushri in golden color on each of those four wheels. Let me just see where that is in the Sadhana. One second, please. Okay. So on this, so on each of the four spokes is a Manjushri with a body and with a body the color of refined gold, with one face and two arms.
Teni cha yege hirab go raden zin de yobare ta te marabu mamba servak rad. Teni cha yon la taran tipsin je upa ke yo anin zin de ti ke gangla teni pote yore. Jayan hiraje paradise ba teni poten zin de ba. Teni shab dorje chumotong ge yog ne teni hivak ta nyam godan dimba. Derag toni teni yarsar nang de zeg there are that song around so soon comes here nang to zing then he work lens and soon work lens and then round down sunza ta type simjin tamje then you get no shiban deke then is ta chap de yorwa then 데크다 그저고로 체 parche 당 되니 내도 득더블라서 바탐제라 쪼바 군저지 완드세나 돈 담바 완드세나 네로 주니지 네로 되니 라토 버시바 하고 또 버시바 다 데크치도 되니 다 다나바 이거도 요 삼네 다 데트 차도 요레스
So one face and two arms, and then each of them in their right hands at shoulder level, they brandish a sword of wisdom. So this wisdom sword dispels the darkness of ignorance. And then in the left hands, at their heart level, between the thumb and the ring fingers, they hold the stem of an Utpala flower. And above that, above the flower, is a volume of the Perfection of Wisdom Sutra. And then all of these Manjushris, peaceful Manjushris, they possess the 9 moods of a peaceful deity, and they are all facing inward. So in the context of the protection practice, the deities face inward, engaging in peaceful or protective activities. And so then we visualize that so what is to be protected is oneself and all others, and limitless sentient beings. And their kind of life force is visualized as the syllable ni. And so what the activity, the protecting activity that is engaged in, is to kind of gather back and protect the ni syllable, which is to, on the relative level, it means to protect us from obstacles to our lifespan, and from disease, and from evil spirits, and all kinds of obstacles and difficulties and obscurations. And on the ultimate level, it means that so these Manjushris are there to help us realize the nature of the mind of Dharmata.
타데 데니다 다라디 다라운타 텔라치 요함탄 세탄 텔라소바케 mambo 지야요리 텐테소타 드라믹사 체효 마유난릭사레 테 간타르다 테소트 라소 탐제 소소 남주 진린드 텔라 옴 만즈시레 야미타카 야마란자 마모 에카자데 사마얀잔자시 단데 진리는 요르와 차사 주바푸아 너무 진린 거라 근데 파마랑은 칼라트 딘네든 난도 나다는 요리 참아 만지시래 딘네든도 대바도 담색이만 근데 만지시래 히레스드다 잠바양 차도 요리 야미타가 시디 다라데 얍차도 요리 야마란자 시디 세리 마모에가 자드 시디 염레 데니 사마야 지디 담색 섬바 데 자자 가와페 고유 소페 고유리 자자 시디 데니 다 진진바 그 차도 요르바 이시스 다 이시발라서도 담색 섬바 잘자 딘데인 거라
So then at the invitation, then we invite, so then basically there's a lot of visualizations after that. So we like the consort and the Supreme Sun and so on. But we won't go into all of those details now. But so then after having visualized, then we come to the invitation. We invite the assembly of the deities. And the meaning of the invitation is summarized by the invitation mantra at the end of the invitation. So the mantra is Om Manjushri Yamantaka Yamaraja Mamo Ekachati Samaya Chaja. So that summarizes the invitation. So Manjushri, so it's Manjushri. Yamantaka is so the male deity, the Yab, father. And Yamaraja is the supreme son. Mamo Ekachati is the consort. And Samaya here refers to myself, the Samaya being. And then Jaja is the invitation, so please come. So basically we are saying, you wisdom beings, come here to merge with me, the Samaya being.
Teni teo da samaya tichalin si, teni yuxor samaya tichalin si ba de. Teni teo da chansarwa de atepo pate tsaho si, atepo ho si ba de da damsik samba. Da yi la zhin yin de, damsik yi la zhin yin de, da teni pate tsaho si de jinkar je la zo tangje la, de chansarwa tongre. Mari susok damsik chansi gora.
Then next is the request to remain, and the mantra for that at the end is Samaya Tishtahlan. So that's the basically it means to remain, to stay. And then next, the third is the prostration, which is summarized by the mantra Atipuhu Pratichaho. And the meaning of that is, so Ati Puho is I recollect my Samaya, and Pratichaho is so recollecting my Samaya, I pay homage, I prostrate.
다 디오 디린 주반 보고 단 주반 버려들라 아감파 뎀라 소바니 샵타 파티자 소하 버들라 데니 체 주바시 체 주바 다 디갑스 소소라지 데니 신바든 셔그 무보 탐제라 데니 신바단 진바단 제 자약 디그 동차가 요로요 데니 디오더 다 데라양 다론체 마다바가 든라 끝나바지 요나 데 데니 파 메게 식 din chido ramsi teni choy zhe de yamsi teni long pa torwa de la kamsi ne tanda chung yore.
And after that we make offerings to the deity, and the mantra for the outer offerings is so argam patem pupe and dupe aloke gende nevidyam shapta ahung soham. And so here we should think that as we make these outer offerings, that we are freeing ourselves from all grasping to the outer material things, objects. And so if there still are some impurities, some impure perceptions that remain, then the next three syllables cleanse them. So with Ram, Yam, and Kam, then everything, so every impurity that remains is then burned by the fire of Ram and scattered by the wind of Yam, and then washed, cleansed by the water of Kam.
Tene tarong tela che tarate jinjilab ne onwa hong pa jinjilab yong yo re tela ngobo lo dog song ne hong ke ninjin ke ni jung de jang ro yo re song a shi ba de ke tene yi shi ke de zhe le chur gyur om ji tene do yong ke nam kha tan gang ne tene o te ta ja chim bol pa per na de
hong ninjin ta pa
jang
ta bo hong go chora
dang et ti dang te
loto pe sora
so
tene a de tu chi kyo tene
koram chorang ko om ning go so
om de nam kha nang shin chora
ong pa per wa
bel nam kha nang shin kare
ja chim bo nam ka kamar chorang ko om ning go so yu ne ya sara
loto de nang shin song re
man te ngarang skoro koram do tang te na cha de yo ra 담보 야부 존에 되니 빼거라 되게들 빼네 onkonda
되니 이네 홍 ninjin to pa
ninjin to pa jang 담보 ninjin to pa jang kono ba koram
아니 koram de
나 onga hong na yin labi khan de sar om 담보 labi
om 담보 lam ina 되니 yang 켄타 담마를 담보 ninjin to pa
다라 가려 했는데
then the syllables Omahung, with which we consecrate, and Nagarjuna had explained it, those syllables. So actually, in the correct order of, so we say Oma Hung, but in terms of what they actually accomplish, it's actually the other way around. So it starts actually with Hung. So Hung first, because Hung purifies dualistic grasping. And then once that's purified, then transforms the offerings into a kind of a nectar of wisdom, a wisdom nectar. And then then increases it. So the offerings become vast, filling all of space.
다디오도 낭주들로 옴스 데니 사와스데 탐지로와 빈자시든가 빈자시바든가 그동리 아메르다 시바데 데네다 지와메 베두즈 데니 카람 시바데 이로 낭 시바데 카헤스데 데니 지봉안에 델로 롱주로 낭 시바동리 데니 마하 시바데 자침보로 발랑 시바데 토마로 양 카람 카헤 지바리 데니 마하 락타 시바데 차리 마하 맘사 시바데 샤 마킨네르데 시바르바 고로자나 마 고로잔시 레바 지타 시바데 닝 바수타 시바데 주마 다 나트로 데레 다데게 낭게 주바데 푸고요레 낭게 단
Vasota patusura.
Pasda la karonga.
Then next are the inner offerings, which is represented by the next mantra. So it begins with so the first mantra is Om Sarva Pancha Amrita Lakaram Kahim. So Om is like the beginning, and Sarva means all, and Pancha means number 5, and Amrita is the nectar of immortality, and Karam means please eat, please accept, and Kahim means to joyfully, happily, to enjoy it, take it and enjoy it. So first we offer these 5 kinds of nectar, the Amrita. Second is Mahabalingda Lakaram Kahim, so then we offer next, so the Balingda is the Dharma. And then next the Maharakta Lakaram Kahim, so the Rakta is the blood. Then Mahamamsa Lakaram Kahim, the Mamsa is flesh. Then Mahakemniriti Lakaram Kahim, Kemniriti is the bones. Maha Gorochana Lakaram Kahim, Gorochana is the brains. And then Maha Chitta Lakaram Kahim, Chitta is the mind. And Maha Vasota Karam Kahim, Vasota is the intestines.
다 드소단제 난초 디갑서 데크 파드는 가랑줄로제 드소 조원로라 다 데응네 그 인진 상은데 데 조보 시바당 장보 시바데게 짐바다 타보동 차가 요래 데 모두 지다 시데 상우 주바 차데 요래 데 리게 강라 휴신 바레 데네 마탄 루타타베 샤야 페 시바데 다르 주바 단추 시는다 데 차데 요래
And so these inner offerings, so these are substances that we might consider to be like kind of filthy, but what they represent, this offering represents is that by making this offering, we let go of such dualistic grasping to filthy and pure and so on. All becomes equal. And then the next is the mantra just bodhicitta, an offering, and that is the secret offering, and then the remaining syllables are Mataram, Rudra, Praveshaya, Pet. So that the last few syllables are the liberation offering.
다디오 더 샤바레데 샤바데 온 야마란자 사마야 라소반데 샤바레데 레아볼로스.
And then the next point is the confession, which is also summarized by the Yamantaka's 100-syllable mantra.
다 디오드 드니 제타바노 리타 제타바 자홍 방호 세제들이 제당 자 시바데 데 담세발라 이시바처 진장우동 홍스드 니스메 바처템 밤스드니 도두마 마더바드 욕시 데 호히바데 지인다 덴도 문도 덴도 메커데 유바데 마야바 가이 트로인다 유바다 데 동다도 차게요레.
And then the next mantra is it's called the mantra that kind of seals or binds, and that is Cha Hung Bam Ho. And so the first syllable Cha, the meaning of that is that the Maya being invites the wisdom being to come. And then secondly Hung, then the wisdom being merges inseparably with the Samaya being. Bam means that then we request for the sake of beings, please stay here, remain. And Ho means that, and when you stay, please stay happily. So not like kind of feeling that you only stay because you feel like you have to stay, but actually you should be happy to stay.
다 욕기바데 타데바가 유바나오죠 말이다. 라지 이나 용아 마라데 많이 바라. 타데가는 짐바 많이 봐. 란셈당고 이르미게 돈이 다 요용 거요. 다데 용두 되니 따라데 남바사와 ngajar timba namda timba 되니 데서 동반이 그 냠 샤와시 다티 남바 이게요. 되는 다 사다는 망보지 히에서 남바사와리. 담보 남바사바 메이나 Tini ti ngajar de la ngajar de zong to yo mara la kandao ha ma hi ba so so la ti in samna kale ka ba cha garwa ten ta ngajar tin sa la thoris ta ngajar tin ba hi ba de kantar ngaran so la julu yu bi hirap ta na yige chek lo hi ba de hirap rewa man ndrchik dun hi ba de hirap rewa ngaran so la ti hirap de yu la Teni jipsun jambu yang ngor chube jambra hinje shila teni der tab hirab de ngo chikpa la teni hirab de ya tsar zo so ma ji yu tsang teni ta ngarang cho ga so so ran ti ga la de ngo ji na teni ko ta ta ji ya yu chön na chö ya ba na yi ji ya yu de ba ji ris ti chane da ne ngajar tim ba shi ba da 같이 뭐래
And then so then when we request the deity to remain, then also we should do so with an awareness that not remaining in the sense of the deity is high up there and I'm down here very low, basically seeing myself and the deity as separate. So not like that, but really seeing the deity as indivisible from your own mind and remaining in that sense. So then when we practice a deity, there's different steps to it. So for example, we practice the clarity, the clear visualization, and then also we develop a divine pride, a confidence of being the deity, and then we recollect the purity, and then there's experiences of bliss and clarity and emptiness and so on, which arise out of our meditation. And so all of this has to begin with the clear visualization, and then we really come to the pride or this confidence of I am the deity. Because if your visualization is not so clear, it's hard to develop this divine pride, because if we don't really actually know who that deity is, then it's a little difficult to say, I am the deity. So first you have to know who the deity is, and then you develop the divine pride or the confidence of being the deity. And so that confidence comes from knowing that this continuum, this mental continuum of wisdom is connected, of the deity and your own mind are connected. So, for example, the fact that you know how to recite even just a single word in a recitation, or you know how to recite the Mani mantra and so on, That's that wisdom quality in your mind. And in essence, it is one with the wisdom of Manjushri, who appears as Manjushri Yamantaka. And so in his mind, wisdom is matured, completely perfected. And since our mental continuum is the same, we are connected, that if we give rise to this visualization, if we cultivate the deity, then just like pouring water into water, we can become just like that. And so it's on the basis of knowing that we develop this firm or divine pride or confidence.
다 드니 다라데 남다 팀바스나 간달라이 윤틴 팀바레 드니 nga chek ta hi gang la tesla sun tu pa de la do te la nga ro miksa chem do te 드니 te tu pa chi de la ge 윤틴 so ju yong go yoro wa te dara la nga jar tin de yang 드니 윤틴 so zer timba de ra chi cha go yore 드니 da desar ma do pa nyam senare da gandar jinren ku thone 드니 so so ge de ge la de gom ne de chi indu 드니 so so la 드니 힘바든 짐바라 소바든지 파tar 드니 사와다 팀바 딱바라 소바게 드니 냠탐지 드나리 데서 모토 냠탐지 수수주르서 끼와 다 되는 가지 차도요래.
And then there is the recollection of purity, where we recollect the qualities of the deity. And actually, I skipped one part of just previously. There also was the praise, and so the praise doesn't have a mantra, so we skipped it. But it's like similar to the praise. In the praise, we also remember the qualities of the deity. And so also here, as you mentioned before, we bring to mind the deity's qualities, and we express them through a praise. And then if now we practice the deity in this way, then through the generation stage, the meditation on the deity, we become free of clinging, fixation, of grasping, and then abiding, sustaining that state then leads to the meditative experiences of bliss, clarity, and non-conceptuality. So these arise out of our practice of visualizing the deity, the recollection of purity, and the cultivation of the divine pride or the confidence of being the deity.
Ahorita tini ma yundu kantar tara kamsom mali jaye chimporta songdusa dan de neng de nenga de dere dan de la chirso som dang tini deng som sandago song dig tone de yundu ta nawa koi chirso song ta ngaran zo nawa koi chirso shiba de tini nawa tamje lai kori song ko yore nawa tamje lai koi ba de teni namjung arang so ong a hong shiba di ying som dig toni de lakpa zan ju dong da to ta ba ji rimji yong ko yo ba re song re ganda we yong ko yo re ser du da nawa tamji namjung arang so ge je gang nang yo wa tamji yo ran ne drop de wan da wo je nang du teni de le teni ni sin ji bin jin ba de ge ran yin ge le ga ji indu teni 박차요 박차요든 거와게데 마이로데 뚜인로 요로와 다 강낭 담제 라이로바 센드 라시바데 파가 요 란신 드럽데바 마이바 데니 라 코랑양 저조글로 마제 주마단 자촌다방 라이지드 하고용도 데니 나와 담제 간터 셈지 파야야바 셈지 좀저자민바 다 데이터베제 하고용 거요레
Okay, so then we come to so after having visualized in this way, then we come to, before the mantra recitation, the kind of visualization for that. And so this is, here we bring to mind, which is called our three approaches and three assurances which are brought to mind here. So there's these three assurances is basically what we hold, the awareness that we hold during the mantra recitation. And that is the first assurance is of the body. So there's body, speech, and mind. And the first assurance of the body is of form is to view all appearance, as all that appears, as the form of the deity. So viewing all three realms without exception as the boundless palace, and so on. And also the nature of that is, the essence of that is included in the Om Hung mantra, which we usually recite. And when you understand the meaning of that, then just by merely saying Om Hung, the entire meaning one by one comes to your mind, and you realize its meaning. And so here what you realize, what you should hold in mind when you think that all that appears is the boundless palace, is pure, is the deity, is that from your own perspective, from our perspective, it ordinarily seems that things, appearances actually exist, things that we perceive exist. And that is because we have a dualistic perception. And so whatever we do then naturally is done from this place of duality. And that always creates habitual karmic imprints. And these imprints are the foundation of wandering in samsara. So instead, what we should understand is that all that appears is the display of the deity, and nothing whatsoever possesses any true self-sufficient existence. And also the deity is not an inherently existing entity, but it appears just like an illusion or a rainbow in the sky. And so in a similar way, we should understand all appearances as nothing but the kind of the a magical display, the expressions of the mind itself.
Tene da tela om nantong ko dorje son. Tene traktong song dorje. Song tan da dra thamje tene pena traktong ri sidra thamje tong bani ri sena lamsang ha ko yo mare. Tene o a si da kare ri sina yene ko toni imbate tene sanje ke kalatine tene ngaran so ke o ta je dra thamje toni ri sena ratru unde tene ngasu ratru ro yo re ko dra yapo inari nimpo inari menipa inari tan de inza trangtong song dorjes dorje yengo ate sanje ke tongmani ke ran yin rimpa la tin yabade timba ta dun namyo njwa mi bechani dorjes don la te dar yin bechani dorjes tene rektong tok dorjes ta rektong shiba kare rektong shiba de jinrik lamungos kanda ngarang chog jinrik de ko namdo zambo inari ngimba inari korang ngo toni ishiris yene nebe ishi de indu ngarang chog semda nangkhani namhi chemi ba ha go yondu ishi de ngoto ko yores ta tela hong si tai de chunsin raw da hong la yane deni hong ri tong tuk dorje sina deni ta dorje somde dara delan karchimbo chade yore.
And then, so we speak about the three vajras, and first, which are represented by Om Hung, and Om represents the vajra of form, that is appearance and emptiness, and then A represents the vajra of speech, which is sound and emptiness, the empty nature of sound. So normally when we just say sound, all sound is empty, it's difficult to just understand that like that. But so it is through the sound A, which represents this primordial emptiness, and the Buddha's teachings that all sound lack inherent existence and is empty, so that we gradually realize its empty nature. And that actually there is nothing inherently pleasant or unpleasant about sound. And realizing that is the vajra of speech, which is empty sounds. And the term Vajra itself is a sign of an never changing nature. It is the truthful words of the Buddha, and truth implies that it's not changing. It's an unchanging nature. So Vajra, because it is the ultimate unchanging reality of things. And then third is the Vajra of the mind, which is empty awareness. And that awareness is, in essence, your own mindfulness, which is in essence the mind of the guru and so on, the deity. And that mind, in its essence, there is no difference between positive or negative thoughts. Whatever arises in the mind is in essence primordial awareness. It is primordial because it has been there since beginningless times, and wisdom, it knows, it is a knowing capacity. And this mind, this awareness is not separate from space. And when you recognize that, you recognize primordial wisdom. And that is represented by the syllable Hong, which is called the Vajra of the mind or empty awareness. So here in this context here of when we recite this part of the mantra recitation, those three Vajras are most important.
다 질소 솜디 강라 댕솜다 딩고 송고요. 다 댕솜데 가르스나 담보데 따와 란종기 이시데 데니 이에네 dor송와 이에네 dor송와 인두 데니 믹사 텔레친 베촌도 치네 dor고알은 베촌 먹으베차니 데니 텔라 베촌 먹으베 댕송 데니 니바데 란낭 이시데레 데니 거다 이시 니마레 우저인다 거다 이시 탐제 서사용고 요두 데니 신감 로스 드럽 먹으베 댕송 데니 콘데 탐제라다 레도다 빵랑라소바 탐제다 자르송멘도 다 산제스나 로스 드비아지 미데와 네록데 ngo데 ngontro운데 산제스 로는 드비아 미바 미드 데니 디그토라체 타노 추고요데 타드 남추 바이나 틴텔라 타추바 댕스 틴티 댕솜데다 데니 딤바제 딩안에 데냐미 난고요레.
So we said there are three approaches and three assurances. So these first ones were the three approaches. The second one are the three assurances, of which the first one is the assurance of when one has recognized the view that is the self-born, self-arisen primordial awareness that is primordially, originally liberated, meaning that it actually, since it already is liberated, there is no effort required to bring about liberation. So it is the assurance, the effortless assurance, so the assurance of an effortless mind. And then the second one is that now when one has recognized that all appearances are the expression of primordial wisdom and manifest just like sun rays emerging from the sun, but not being separate from the sun, so then one realizes that no separate pure lands and so on are to be established or created. So it is the assurance of not needing to create any pure land, anything pure, kind of deliberately. And then third is that when one has become free of all hopes and fears and acceptance and rejections of samsara and nirvana, then one gains the assurance that no separate Buddhahood is to be accomplished intentionally. So aside from realizing the nature of the mind, there is no other Buddhahood to be accomplished. So it's called the assurance of decisiveness or the assurance of resolution. So it is within that state of these approaches and assurances that we should engage in practice.
칠소솜다 댕솜데 딤방안이 데니 따라티 힘바도 순동고요 데는다 Nimpa de len he rob san hyuba ina om ekayama turutsak de song si. Tan dikabs ketan eka hiba de chik hiba tongdare jaga kela. Lekjar chik de hiba de karer sidu jarwa tamji yihilong de chik dikabs ekayama turus ekayama hiba kabs yam jamar hinji hi de lata chazoglo. Kanda ngarang tsumma de masu nrewa ndawo ji yin kuyurwa de ndu nrewa. De tingin zin kangani de dek tuan zo. Deni Thailand oji kyong ko yorwa deni dara de yamasi da hinji yin ko wa ngarang deni jidan de duro hibande tsek de loare de hibade dang ro hibade desa tsek de mandawari karesina de hibade du ro hibade symbol hibade dara ngarang yidag konsu toba denari da yina ya dik tungne de kare durungne de kare residu ngarang su ju ke nyumong dancing marek bandares then ta jambar hinji hinde teni tumong number tagbak chazoglo tumong mapang nes tagbak chani jambar hinji hi chaandu teni ekayama drutsak de songs ta chig dige che ngak ju simju ga ya teni tumok toba de teni yongsu sangzu stelen teni yishila ya jenda bar hyo simaraw ta tunda derwa.
So when we recite the mantra, therefore we should do so while abiding within the state of these three approaches and three assurances. And then we come to then there's the mantra recitation. So just to briefly explain the meaning of the mantra. So it begins with Eka Yamaduro Chakra Sung. Eka means one in Sanskrit. And one also here implies where we said that within the expanse of primordial wisdom, all Buddhas are one. And so Ekayama refers to Yamantaka, the male, the father, Manjushri Yamantaka. And so by saying their name, through samadhi and saying their name, we connect to, as humans, we connect to the deity's mind and we invoke their activity. And so then the activity that is invoked for Manjushri Yamantaka, the male, is Duro Chakra Sung. Duru actually consists of two words, Du and Ru. Du refers to the demons or the Maras, and Ru refers to the Rakshas, kind of the flesh eaters, which are also hungry spirits. And then the real meaning of Duru together, this term Duru is one's own afflictive emotions and self-grasping, one's own ignorance. And Manjushri Yamantaka represents the complete purification of ignorance. That is the natural purification of ignorance without having to abandon it or reject it. So when you recite Om Eka Yamaduro Chakra Sung, then you think that likewise, may I also completely purify all ignorance in my mind, and may primordial wisdom increase within my own mind.
Teni hekayama turutsak sonsi ta ducha takpa le songwa teni longchu zoba ke namba teni yom mamo chameng ma de kojri teni nremayama turutsak song hibate ngajar takpa le songwa ta yungting ke ranzu trupu ke ranzu teni semcho yama ranza de ko yo pares. Teni sarwa sidu tan konde ke chu tamjerwa zita zertom beini tekni ta beini hiba de gokpa teni tekni serwa de zerwa beya doya se ta te che hops patewa na che su jobs maro che nga de yong ko yor de donda te mares so ke dancing ke ta hi galo hiba na mapang nes ta pas tomo mapang nes ta do cha mapang nes ta korang ngon chu ne hedang jewa de hedang rango melong yi shi ran yin bang ngon chu de ta ding ani teni ramji ta ngarang chu chezo glo dron ro yo res tana matham na teni phakala dran ro ji yor se te su job je de na ngarang chu ko wala yang jar cheng ro me se te dron to ko marwa
Then Hekayama Duro Chakrisung, and that is the complete purification of desire, and appearing in the form of the Sambhogakaya, the mother consort Mamotagmima. And then Grimaya Maduro Chakrisung is the purification of jealousy, and the manifestation, the Nirmanakaya manifestation of enlightened qualities, the Supreme Son Yamaraja. Sorry, not jealousy, pride. The purification of pride. And so it's the Nirmanakaya manifestation of the Supreme Son Yamaraja. And then, so Sarva Chitta Sirtum Bignan Jignan Beya Doya. So Sarva Chitta, it refers to all the phenomena of samsara and nirvana. And then Sirtum Bignan Jignan. So Sirtum Bignan. So what is it first? Bignan. So Bignan means to summon, to draw in, and then Jignan is to kind of to bind, and then Beya Doya, so slay and to kind of slaughter. So, but then it might seem to be something really violent, but actually that's not what is really meant, because as I mentioned before, it refers to the afflictive emotions and self-grasping in our own mind that are being destroyed and purified without actually abandoning them. And that's the meaning of saying that, for example, desire is self-liberated, or ignorance or hatred are self-liberated. Self-liberated means that you recognize their true nature. And when you, for example, recognize the nature of anger, hatred, then it itself becomes the mirror-like wisdom. So it becomes liberated in itself. And otherwise, of course, if we just take it literally and we just think that there's this enemy that needs to be slaughtered, then, of course, if we engage in such activities, then this will not free us from samsara. This will actually tie us up more and more in samsara.
This samdra warin nodum hongza hibade kandar hiablo dakja pulon monong korches hiba tonda jikba na ore de nikapsu tonda kare ting yoresina tene hedang tapa la sunwe chibda na po chado tapa la sunwe sobda na po tene zungzi ni tapa la sunwe tene troka chegla tomar cheba tene chojar shinje ji ga la song khorda jeba ta de tamje la ta tonda de so la ko yore ta de tamje ge tene rakchae soa se rakchae de sung shin jobroji se dan tae besinjin de datam chi jamin gumi kansna danzi yingwang de son de dari du ta de tamje le de jobroji se kunzob je wang de sena dondam je wang de sena de de so ge nismi be don de dao ne de ta jabrashin ji shi ge de kompang la ya ku ya ta sile zo de cha de yo bare.
Then continues some grivari nibum hum cha, and so that has the same nature as what comes afterwards. The same. So this is the Sanskrit, and what the few words afterwards are Tibetan. So some grivari nibum hum cha has the same meaning as takchak ben lob mino khodang chepa. So la. So all of that means the samgrivari and so on. And what it means is that so then there is the form emanation, the Black Lord of Death, who represents the purification of hatred. And then there is the speech emanation, the Black Lord of Life Force, representing the purification of jealousy. And then there is the like the general purification of all dualistic grasping at a subject-object duality. And that is, so then here, Kordang Cheba. Kordang Cheba means all the retinue. so together with all the retinue of the wrathful king, represent the overcoming of this dualistic mind. And then Raksha Soha, so Raksha here means please protect and please defend us. All of us limitless samsaric sentient beings who are without protector, without help, meaning that we all grasp at a self. So protect us from that. So that's the request on the relative level, and on the ultimate level. Then we wish to attain the non-dual state of Manjushri Yamantaka, and to establish. So we invoke the activities to establish all beings in that state.
다 간다르 자와 탐지 힐론도 더 시바 시송바 인도 아더니 야영 거제 탐지 조절 신지 힐런도 조절 신지 히드 철도 나 홍예런도 홍예 때 르바랑종 그고 드가랑 레더니 때다 니스미 베네 네인도 드니 때때 하고소와나 아더니 다 간다르 잠바 신지 시게 다 조롬 증오 차네 아더니 데 내가 제 하고로 요래 때나 야 against 아마 투지제 논터송와이나 공바 만창 돌로샤.
And so, as we said before, within the expanse of primordial wisdom, all the Buddhas are one. So the entire retinue of all the deities are included within the Yap and the Yum, and then they are included in just the wrathful king Yamantaka himself. And then his essence is included within the Hung syllable. And the Hung syllable represents the essence of one's own self-arisen awareness. And when you realize it to be non-dual in nature, then you have really begin to fathom the nature of Manjushri Yamantaka. So that is the most important. These are the most important points. So we stop the teachings here. Thank you all very much. I'm sorry for any mistakes. I openly confess them.
Jambar Baba Jadar Jamba Dang Kunda Zambo Dean Dejan de Da Gunja Jiza Dalos Biwan de Da Damje Rabda Ngo Chanjo Simjo Rambo Je Maje Banan Jijer Je Jiba Nyamba Meba Konde Konde Bewar Jo Simjie Neba Jinye Ba Nirde Nele Tarjur Jin Rove Nenam Malub Tadun Jongwa Meba Jo. Thank you very much.